The film begins with Nora and Alec driving to the countryside, where they become lost and end up on an unfamiliar road. Nora becomes frustrated when they stop at an old abandoned diner. She goes to the back to find a bathroom and discovers a wallet and a phone, but she pays no attention to them and misses seeing a human skull nearby. As they leave, they drive past a pile of skeletons without realizing it. In the car, Nora tells Alec about the abandoned campsite, but he is more concerned about running out of gas. They soon encounter a woman with a broken-down car. Alec tries to help her with jumper cables, and the woman agrees. While Alec works on the car, the woman asks Nora why Alec hasn't married her yet, which shocks Nora. She tells the woman it's none of her business. The woman becomes upset and calls Nora irresponsible and privileged. Nora tells Alec they should leave, so they drive away without fixing the woman's car. Nora complains about Alec helping the woman, and Alec defends himself, saying he was just being kind. They stop at a diner for a meal. Alec notices a peculiar man staring at them from the end of the aisle. As they are about to leave, the strange man seizes Nora's arm and warns her about her safety in town. Alec steps in and the man releases his grip. They swiftly depart from the diner in their car. Alec checks in with Nora to make sure she is okay, and she brushes it off as no big deal. They then pull into a gas station, where Alec inquires with the cashier about any nearby threats. The cashier mentions a cabin down the road, so they head back to their car. While driving, Nora expresses her desire to inspect the cabin before deciding to stay, but Alec insists on taking a break to avoid potential accidents in the dark. Upon reaching the cabin, they notice several parked cars, which Alec interprets as a sign of people being inside. Inside the cabin, Nora feels uneasy and asks Alec if they can leave. Alec reassures her, pointing out the evidence of the place being used, such as the dirty plates on the table. To their surprise, the landlord, with a disfigured face, greets them and apologizes for not hearing them. He then inquires about their origin, to which Alec responds that they came from Los Angeles. The landlord guides them to their cabin, which happens to be isolated from the others, explaining that it used to be rented by Boy Scout troops or church groups, hence the bunk beds around. Alec casually asks the landlord how long he has been there, and the man mentions that he's been running the place since 1989. Tired of the casual talk, Nora abruptly ends the conversation, stating that they need a break. The landlord takes offense and loudly shuts the door as he leaves. That night, they prepare for bed and drift off to sleep soundly, oblivious to the figure hiding under their bed. When morning comes, the figure rises, uncovering himself as a man with a sheep mask. Nora wakes up in a dog cage, trapped. Panicking, she sees a man in a goat mask who hits the cage to silence her. She finds a rock, tries to escape but fails as the goat man returns with another masked man, pouring a liquid over her head. She wakes up strapped to a chair in a barn, where a person in a rabbit mask tortures her. Later, she's taken back to her cage and witnesses people in masks doing disturbing tasks, including dismembering a man's body. Alec is also caged, gagged, and naked, observing men being hammered to death like animals. He tries to escape but is knocked out and taken to a slaughterhouse, revealing the farm is a twisted commune where humans are treated as livestock. Men are butchered for meat, while women are milked. The landlord, receiving a big meat order, selects a woman from the dairy barn, where several women are caged and milked. He kills a baby in front of its mother, leaving her devastated. Andrew, an unmasked worker, tries to comfort the mother, but she resents him, calling him sick. Later, Andrew kills the woman, and the landlord, angry, orders him to be found. Nora meets another captive woman next to her, who explains the horror of being trapped, forced to have babies until her body gave out. The woman reveals they've been monitored since stopping at the rest stop. Another woman named Ashley has also been there for 2 years, but she believes there's no escape. Andrew, caught playing with severed heads, is reprimanded by the landlord. Tasked with feeding the men, he spills the food and flees to the greenhouse. Nora watches in horror as another woman is slaughtered in front of her. Alec, bloody but alive, appears and they try to escape. They reach a truck, but it doesn't start. They find shelter in a church, only to discover it's filled with eerie animal masked imagery. A man in a cow mask enters, and they try to sneak out, but get caught. Alec is trapped in a bear trap, and though Nora tries to help, she's forced to leave him behind. Alec is killed by the farmhands. Nora hides and learns about a bus that could help her escape. She kills a masked person with a hammer and escapes to the stables, where she frees Ashley. They find the bus, but it has no keys. Nora sneaks into a house to retrieve them, but when they return to the bus, it's filled with masked people, ready for them. The final scene reveals Nora and Ashley, now prepared as main dishes on the farm's table, presented like roasted pigs with apples in their mouths.